Good day, folks. We're at the Writers' Museum today, housed in Lady Stair's house at the Lawnmarket on the Royal Mile in Edinburgh. Beside the museum lies the Makars' Court, the country's emerging national literary monument. And that's beside the museum. In fact, I'm standing on the court right now. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the museum itself outside at the present moment because we can't get in. Part 2 we'll get in, this is part 1. This is the Makars' Court I'm standing in now. Show you around, Makars' Court. Now the Writers' Museum, housed in Lady Stair's house at the Lawnmarket on the Royal Mile in Edinburgh, presents the lives of 3 of the foremost Scottish writers, Robert Burns, Walter Scott and Robert Louis Stevenson. Run by the City of Edinburgh Council, the collection includes portraits, works and personal objects. Beside the museum lies the Makars' Court, the country's emerging national literary monument, which I'm standing on right now. That's it there, sir. That's the court. Lady Stair's house. The current building is a Clever Fox medieval masterpiece by Stuart Hen Best Capper, dating from 1892. It was presented by the Earl of Rosebery, who probably commissioned the work to the city for use as a museum in 1907. Only then did it acquire the name of Lady Stair's house. It incorporates replicas, not originals, of various carved stones, probably from the earlier building. The house it replaced was demolished in 1890. Lady Stair's house, 3 Lady Stair's Close, 477 Lawnmarket, is located within Lady Stair's Close, just off the Lawnmarket. The original house was built in 1622 for Sir William Gray of Pittendrum. The lintel over the entrance is dated 1622 and carries the initials WG and GS for William Gray and Geda, or Agidia Smith, his wife, sister of Provost John Smith of Groat Hill. And the inscription, "Fear the Lord and depart from evil," is on top of the lintel. Their son was Scots worthy Andrew Gray, whose books became well known despite dying at an early age. The building was initially known as Lady Gray's House and the close known as Lady Gray's Close. The tenement is now named after the Gray's granddaughter, the Society Beauty Lady Stairs Elizabeth Dowager, or Dowager, Countess of Stair, née Elizabeth Dundas, the widow of John Dalrymple, 1st Earl of Stair. She purchased the building in 1719. In the 1890s, the original building was inherited by Archibald Primrose, the 5th Earl of Rosebery. The rebuilding of 1892 includes nothing of the original building other than unseen basement areas. In 1907, the Earl gave the house to the Royal Borough of Edinburgh for use as a municipal museum. Lady Stair's house is designated a Category A listed building by Historic Environment Scotland. Now again, a lot of people ask, who was Lady Stair? Lady Stair was the widow of John Dalrymple, 1648 to 1707, the 1st Earl of Stair. She bought the house in 1719 of Sir William Gray of Pittendrum, an Edinburgh baronet. The venue is tucked away in Lady Stair's Close, up a narrow staircase, entered halfway up the mound. I'll show you that shortly. In Edinburgh Old Town. You will find the Edinburgh Writers' Museum quotations by eminent local authors in Macker's Courtyard. Macker is author, that's what it means. Macker is an author. Such as Scott and Burns greet you on arrival. The Lady Stair house, built in 1622, is a small building with a narrow curling stone staircase. That's in keeping with the intimate nature of the displays which feature great Scottish writers Robert Burns, Sir Walter Scott and Robert Louis Stevenson, which we will see on part 2. As I say, we can't get in today. Now, visitors can see portraits, rare books and original tools of the trade such as Burns' writing desk, Scott's chessboard, rocking horse, dining table and printed press on which his Waverley novels were produced. Now that's what I was telling you about. That's the lintel up there, on top of the entrance to the museum. And it says, "Fear the Lord and depart from evil." 1622. Now the City Arts Centres, this is the plaque. It's telling us that because of the situation that we're in, coronavirus, etc., the times may be altered. That's the plaque for it anyway. The Writers' Museum looks forward to welcoming visitors back just as soon as we can. We appreciate your support during this difficult time and we are thinking of you all. From everyone at the Museum and Galleries, Edinburgh. So they are trying their best to try and get back to some kind of a normality, telling us there. Now it does say that they're supposed to be open from 10 AM to 5 PM, but I wouldn't go by these times at this present moment in time. Best to find out about it first. Maybe Google or one up the office. Okay. Now this Writers' Museum celebrates the lives of 3 giants of Scottish literature: Robert Burns, Sir Walter Scott and Robert Louis Stevenson. Home to portraits, rare books and personal objects, including Burns' writing desk, the printing press on which Scott's Waverley novels were first produced, and the rocking horse he used as a child. We have Robert Louis Stevenson's riding boots and the ring given to him by a Samoan chief, engraved with the name Tusitala, meaning teller of tales. Tusitala, teller of tales, that's what it means. There is also a plaster cast of Robert Burns' skull, one of only 3 ever made. This free museum is easy to locate just off Lawnmarket, the top part of Edinburgh's historic Royal Mile in Lady Stair's Close. With a wide range of stories and objects, this museum has something for everyone to enjoy. Whether young or old, local residents or visitor, you don't need to have read these writers' works to enjoy the fascinating life stories told in the Writers' Museum. Now, collection highlights include, which again we will be going to see on part 2. The writers' rich collections include books, manuscripts, portraits and fascinating personal items relating to Robert Burns, Sir Walter Scott and Robert Louis Stevenson. Highlights include a first edition of Scott's novel Waverley and Stevenson's beloved classic A Child's Garden of Verse. Manuscripts include Burns's draft of Scott's Way, Bruce's address to his troops at Bannockburn. There is also the press on which Scott's Waverley novels were printed, a chair used by Burns to correct proofs at William Smelly's printing office, and Stevenson's wardrobe made by the infamous Deacon Brodie, whose double life may have inspired the novel The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now we'll move over to here. This is Macker's Court. Okay? And it's right next to the museum. Now we'll move over to this. It's not as old as some of the things that we're going to see. Now it's dedicated to Scottish War Poets' Corner. Sweet be their sleep now, wherever they are lying, far though they be from the hills of their home. And it was unveiled by Her Majesty's Right Honourable Lord Lieutenant and Lord Provost of the City of Edinburgh, Frank Ross. That's dedicated to the Scottish War Poets' Corner. Now we also have quotations by eminent local authors in the Macker's Courtyard, which we're standing in now. Macker means author. Macker is author. Such as Scott and Burns greet you on arrival. Well, that's when we go into the museum. I'll show you some of the quotations made by the eminent local authors. This is Macker's on Macker's Courtyard. Here are some of them now. Here's some more of the quotations. You intend to bide here, to be sure. Can you think of anywhere better? Nigel Tranter, 1909 to 2000. Bridge building is my vocation. David Dacus, 1912 to 2005. There's quite a few of them there. And if you just imagine that way back in the day there, at Robert Burns and Sir Walter Scott and Robert Louis Stevenson's, this would be a hustle bustle court in those days. But in tourist times, it's very, very busy. The tourists like to come to this museum, and of course people that are interested in writing to come and visit the Scottish writers. Drums in the Walligate, pipes in the air, the wallop and thistle is ill to bear. Hugh McDermott, 1892 to 1978. And there they are up there. Robert Burns, Sir Walter Scott, Robert Louis Stevenson. And that's the building. Quite impressive, isn't it? And that's the stairwell leading up to the front of the building, the entrance. There are no stars so lovely as Edinburgh's streetlit lamps. Robert Louis Stevenson, 1850 to 1894. And this is Lady Stairs Close that we're on just now. This is the entrance, Lady Stairs Close. Freedom is a Noble Thing by John Barber, 1320 to 1395. is North Bank Street we're on. North Bank Street. Some nice music there in the background. And they've even got a restaurant here, Macca's Rest. It's complementing the Macca's Courtyard, which is just behind this restaurant, the Macca's Rest. Some people enjoying themselves there in the Macca's Rest. Give them a wave. There we are. And this is the entrance again from this street. This is North Bank Street we're on just now, stairwell entrance to the museum. We'll go up it just now. North Bank Street we're on just now. And if people are coming to visit the museum from this street, they would go up these stairs. This is Lady Stairs Close. Lady Stairs Close, this one. Very impressive building, isn't it? You've got to take your hats off to the builders. In those days, there's no such thing as safety regulations as we know them now. And they're in keeping with the magnificent architecture of the city of Edinburgh. So, there we are, folks. That's an insight, part one, of the Writers' Museum and the Macca's Court. In part two, we'll go into the museum and I'll show you around in there all the interesting artefacts and all the interesting history about the writers. Mainly centred on Robert Burns, Sir Walter Scott and Robert Louis Stevenson. But there are lots more things there of interest that I can show you. So, signing out from the Writers' Museum here in Edinburgh, Lawnmarket. Bye for now, and hope to see you all on the next journey.